Once again, to Talk with the Hands. You wouldn't believe the amount of feedback I get from people loving Talk to the Hands. Hans Kelder.
Thank you, Scotty. Good to be here this morning.
Great to have you here. Now, what are we talking about this morning?
So we're going to talk about I should have married someone else.
Oh, this is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Everybody,
Joe, you take over now.
everybody at some point thinks they've married the wrong person.
Yeah.
I think, maybe I should have married someone else. So I'm going to read these three scenarios.
Okay.
So Nicole is married to Rob. When Nicole wants to visit her parents on a Sunday, Rob resists. He really enjoys getting out on his racing bike on this one day he has off. By the time she's persuaded him, he goes reluctantly. But lets her know that he's not enjoying himself. This often makes Nicole feel guilty, which in the end ruins her day. Now, if Nicole was married with Steve, he would gladly go. However, he would bring a six-pack of beer. After a few drinks, he would get quite opinionated and loud, causing her to feel uncomfortable and embarrassed. He also flirts with Nicole's younger sister, Louise. She would have to drive home, bottling up her feelings of annoyance and frustration over his insensitive behaviour. Now, if Nicole was married with Michael, she would have to accept that he needed to be in touch with the office while he was there. This would tap into Nicole's insecurity, as she feels Michael's work is more important to him than her. Michael would inevitably make at least 4 calls on his mobile and constantly scan for emails and texts. The day would end in a heated argument over his constant need to be working rather than spending time with her.
I vote for Steve. I like Steve. You like Steve? Steve, six-pack,
Oh no, pick number 3, my lord.
So, okay.
What I'm saying is that it doesn't matter who you're going to be married
Yep.
to, there's going to be some problem at some point. The trouble is that some people, over just a few issues, will say, look, this is not going to work, and I'm out of here. And they go into the next relationship, and they discover actually
More stuff.
it may not have been as good as the first one. I'm not saying that happens all the time, but the stats are against you because there's actually a higher divorce rate in second marriages than there are in first marriages.
Fascinating.
And so, if you're married to someone and you've got a few problems, you're better off sorting them out rather than sort of just chucking it in. Mind you, though, what couples should try and aim for is bring out the best in each other rather than the worst in each other. You know? And so, if you're bringing out the worst in each other, and that's not a good relationship. But if you bring out the best in each other, and you're working towards that. Then your original guy, Rob, maybe he could have changed a bit. Not too sure. But what I'm saying is that sometimes we think that the grass is greener.
Grass is greener on
Hans,
the
you've
other.
just made me think of a really fun segment that we could do in our show called Rate My Annoyances. And we get people to call in with the things that really tick them off about their partner.
Co-hosts.
And we give it a score. So, for example, takes a 6-pack of beer along and becomes opinionated. Out of 10, what would you give that?
I'd give that.
That'd be about 6, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd say 7.
That's fairly annoying. And we could actually work out whether your problems are really that
Just
significant.
hijack, talk to the head.
Oh.
You go right ahead.
Apologies,
Well,
Ed.
No,
Apologies,
you go right ahead. I mean, I just wanted to make this one simple point this morning about
Yeah.
the fact that we
Good
often
point.
do think about maybe we would like to trade our old partner in, but you're not going to get someone perfect. That's a problem.
And getting a little bit more serious. I mean, it is serious, but I know people that have separated and divorced, and there's a whole bunch of issues that go with that too. With children, with finances, so it's not that easy just to walk out and say that's it. We'll find someone better.
That is correct. And not only that, but you carry a whole heap of baggage with you. So you've got baggage from the first relationship, which you carry then into the second relationship, and then you've got 2 lots of baggage because you've actually got more issues to deal with. And often your next partner may trigger some things that your first partner did, which take you back to the first relationship in the way that you react. So you're better off dealing with the issues with the first partner as much as you can.
Which, let's face it, isn't always easy. I mean, sometimes it's pretty tough to deal with the issues, but as you said, you're a marriage counsellor. You've seen some good stories.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen couples who figured they couldn't do it, and they've been able to work out. If the relationship is, if you're in a violent relationship or a domestic, where there's, if you're getting sort of psychological abuse or that sort of thing, then maybe you need to talk about someone who's an expert in that area, and maybe you then do need to move out. But most relationships, what I find is you only often need to tweak a few things. It's just a few things that you find constantly annoying.
That's
And you can
encouraging,
find-
Hans. No, genuinely, that is encouraging that most relationships, you're saying,
Yes.
a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah, just
Uh,
tweak it.
If my wife had stopped talking about buying a ginger kitten, life would be so much happier for me.
What you got to understand, the emotion around her having a ginger kitten.
No,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have taken the lid off that now.
Yeah. You need to see Hands. Hey, Hands, as always, fantastic. We can catch this on YouTube.
You can. It's all there. He's got his...
What Scott's inviting me to say is not only are you on YouTube, but so is he. Type in the words Scott Huss and pseudo echo, and you're pretty certain to find it. In fact, I'm so convinced that our listeners should see this clip. I think I'll put the link on Facebook
No,
today.
please don't do that. That's really embarrassing. Hey, thank you, Hands. Great to chat once again.
Pleasure.